What is going on, guys? MitchCactus here, coming back with another Forza Horizon 5 video, and today's video will be talking about a pretty simple but also fairly in-depth auction house guide for all players. Whether you're new to the game or been playing for a while, you'll be able to extract a fair few useful tips from this video to learn about how to use the auction house, which is definitely one of the most lucrative ways to make money in the game, with the only downside being some hours you'll be very good, some hours you'll get hardly any cars if you're looking to snipe. But I'll also be talking about in this video some kind of cars you guys can use to buy and resell to make fairly large sums of credits within an hourly basis, and it's all very simple to do. Now, if you guys want to stay up to date with further Forza Horizon 5 videos, glitches, tutorials, etc., and also updates related to this auction house method, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe with notifications on. As guys, the auction house is fairly dynamic. As new rare cars come into the game, different prices of each car will adjust, and certain sniping metas will come out, so to speak, and certain cars will be better to be able to make a lot of money off. So I'll try and make a new video maybe every couple months showing this as new updates roll out for Forza Horizon 5, new cars come out, and of course the auction house changes in itself. Now, just briefly, if you guys want to check out MitchCactus.com, check out our Forza Horizon 5 credit packs ranging from 50 million to a billion out and available now. But first off, one thing I just want to get out of the way, guys, is for a lot of people who don't actually realize this, but when you're playing the game, chances are over time when you're opening wheel spins, you're doing glitches specifically to get a bunch of super wheel spins, there are a lot of cars you guys will get that you might look at and not assume they have a lot of value, including cars like vintage cars. This is one thing I'll go in and show in the auto show, for example. If you go in and filter by or if you actually go ahead and sort by value and you go to the very end, you'll see that pretty much all the rarest and most expensive cars in the game have one trend: they're all old vintage cars, or at least for the most part. As you guys can see, some of these going for 22 million, 30 million, 18.5, and realistically there's quite a few of these cars, and if you happen to get one of these, chances are you might have looked over it and not seen it for its true value. So periodically, one thing I recommend you guys go in and do is go through your garage, look for these kind of cars, even if you're going to sort it by price or value, and look for these kind of cars. In fact, I actually got one the other day. Thankfully I did realize due to the fact that it was quite relevant in last Forza game as being one of the quickest cars in the game, but 22 million, and even the McLaren F1 being a car that's quite an iconic car in itself, but 15 million credits. Now, you're probably not going to get this full value for them when you sell them, but it's an easy 5-10 million credits right off the bat just for selling these vintage cars if you guys are trying to make some fast money. Now, one thing I want to talk about first is talking about what I said before, like as new cars come into the game, or as supply and demand changes for cars in the game, the prices will change proportionally. So an example of this that's quite prevalent right now is the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento Forza Edition. Being one of the best cars in the game right now, its value has been spiking due to how many people are trying to get their hands on one. So for example, when the game just came out within a day, these were worth around 2.8 million on the auction house, and around 3 days later, they're upwards of 6 million almost. So this kind of shows they've been going up by almost a million every single day, and this is how the trend of cars that are worth a lot goes. So over time, if you guys do a Horizon Festival playlist, you get a rare car, you might not think much of it at the time, but in a few months from now, it might be going for millions of credits, and this is how you can use these disparities to try bid on these. Now, one thing I'll be going for and going through first is actually the advanced auction house settings. So when you're in search, click X and this whole menu will open up. Now, I'll be going through each little one of these filters briefly. Performance class, very self-explanatory, not too much to that. Car type can be useful if you're looking for a broad range of cars within a manufacturing class, but you're only trying to look for one type of them to snipe. Can be useful, it's not that good. Max bid, max buyout is pretty self-explanatory, but the max buyout is a very useful tool. Now, if you guys are trying to snipe Lambo Sesto Elementos, considering all of them are up for around 4 to 5 million, searching with a max buyout of 4 million would be the best route to do. Now, obviously none are available right now. This is the whole point of sniping. So if someone lists theirs up, either unaware of its true value or they're trying to get a quick amount of cash, you'll see these first and it'll seed out all the other cars. So if I go in and show you guys the max buyout and I turn this off, you guys will see, like I said before, it's full of cars, it's blocking your vision from seeing the ones that are actually snipe worthy. But if you get these kind of tools on and you get these kind of max buyouts, it'll eliminate all the ones you're not interested and only show the ones you're trying to snipe, which can be very effective if, like I said, seeding out the cars that are too expensive only looking for the ones that'll be listed up at between 500,000 and 1 million to buy them and resell them for an easy 4 to 5 million instantaneously for cars with the high demand like the Sesto Elemento Forza Edition. Now also, a good way to check out a bunch of cars that are worth a lot of credits is through the auto show, specifically looking for ones that are very popular among the community. Now what I mean by that is in the car community for hypercars, specifically in Forza, a lot of people will be paying big dollars even for cars that are available on the auto show. Cars like the Aston Martin Valhalla, cars like even the McLaren P1, specifically any sort of Bugatti you guys know will be worth a bunch of money on the auction house. Now I'll turn off this actual filter now and I'll go ahead and show you some more specific ones so I can get my point across. But pretty much guys, if you go ahead and look at Bugatti cars, ones like the Veyron, the Chiron, you know a lot of people are going to be looking to buy these on the auction house, even the Devo. Cars like the Lamborghini, iconic ones in particular that are worth a lot, like the Veneno, the Centenario. For Ferrari cars, although the LaFerrari is not in the game right now, that's an example of one that'll be worth a bunch in a minute. Other ones that are worth a lot right now, and a lot of people are actually going from the auction house frequently, is Ferraris of the FXXK, even the F50 GT, the Enzo, etc., and of course the 599XX Evo. So the point I'm saying this for is that a lot of these kind of cars can be bought for around, let's say, 1 million off sticker and resold in the up of 2 million to be able to make a cool 800,000 credits in one little stint. Now it's pretty easy, it's very effective, and it can be done in quite high volumes considering how many people are looking to buy these cars based off the fact that they're popular in the community. Now if I'm going to show you guys a Bugatti Chiron to get my point across, it's pretty cool to see and pretty interesting to see what kind of actually leverage you guys can get on these and the profit margins involved. So if I go on and search for Bugatti Chiron, turn off this filter real quick. And one thing in particular you guys will see is that most of them will be up for the maximum value. Now I didn't actually specify Bugatti, so I'll go and Chiron here just so it's a little bit more clear. But most of these will be worth a very similar value of around 2.1 credits to 2.6 million buyout. But what this doesn't show is that a lot of people are easily able to put them up for less than this. So what I go and show you guys is my Bugatti, and this is something that happens a lot more than people expect. If I go on and show you my Chiron, there's usually 3 brackets of buyout. The most expensive, a little less, and the smallest one, which is 1.3 million. Now like I said, it happens a lot more than you guys think, where people who are trying to get money fast will list up ones with buyouts at the minimum price bracket. They're trying to get cash quick, and you can easily capitalize on this through these kind of filters. If you're looking for a max buyout of, let's say, 1.5 million or 2 million is actually one of the staple max buyouts. This is how you can look out for this in cars like the Ferrari. For example, what I was talking about before, a lot of these Ferraris are fairly effective at it, but one in particular is the FXXK. This here you'll see most of them upwards of 1.5 to 1.9 million. If you guys literally just set a maximum buyout of, let's say, 1 million, you're only looking for people who are selling them for cheap. Of course, chances are there won't be any available, as it's something that doesn't happen a lot. It's sniping. It's called that for a reason. But you could easily get one for 1 million, resell for 1.7 in 5 minutes. That's 700,000 credits profit. So you guys get what I'm trying to say with these kind of cars. And one thing I'll also talk about back with those advanced filters is a source, and in particular prize cars. Now prize cars are cars that are either only available in wheel spins or also available in wheel spins with Forza shop or through other seasonal events such as seasonal festival playlist. So this pretty much wires out any car that isn't considered rare. And if I go a minimum bar, just get my point across, because there'll be a lot of trash cars that are still prize cars but aren't very good. But the prize cars is usually where you'll find some of the rarest cars in the game, like cars that the Sesto Forza Edition. That would be considered a prize car, and also a Forza Edition car. You guys can see the McLaren Speedtail. A bunch of these rare cars will be able to sell for a lot, and a good way to get them is by going for more specific ones, such as if you're trying to look for a certain prize car or a certain group of prize cars, such as old vintage cars, years useful, 1920s, maybe those that are rear wheel drive, and even a certain country if you want to be specific. If you want to look for Ferraris, Lamborghinis, etc., Italy. Chances are it's a completely random search. Chances are not much will come up. You guys see what I'm trying to say with this. Now one thing that's also very important to understand when using the auction house, so go ahead and search just randomly for this to show auctions that are ending soon, is how the auction actually functions. So you guys can see, I'm sure a lot of us know, after 1 minute, the animation will say is ending soon. Now what ending soon represents is when there is less than 60 seconds left. Now the ending soon animation or the ending soon label placed on these auctions is very deceiving, because it doesn't actually have a countdown of the seconds. But what to know, there are 2 main bidding points when a car is in its ending soon process. One is when there is 40 seconds to go. As you guys can see, these all just switch to winning soon. The second is when there are 20 seconds to go. So you can place one bid at 40, another at 20 seconds. And what I'm sure is very relatable is a lot of people in these last minutes of an auction or last seconds more like are trying to get rare cars, trying to one up the last person the very last second and hope to grab it, but aren't aware of these kind of thresholds. So if you're placing it or doing a bid with, let's say you get scared it's going to end soon and you chuck a bid in as soon as ending soon pops up, you're opening your window for someone else to simply one up you towards the very end and you won't even have time to react. So guys, the best way to place a bid is if you literally time it. So as soon as you see the ending soon animation come up, get a countdown from 1 minute, go for a bid with around 23-25 seconds to go, because there is an animation of placing the bid which you have to factor in for. But if you place a bid and it goes through with exactly 20 seconds to go, quite literally no one will be able to beat you. You have a guaranteed win. It'll take a while for the auction to actually finish, another 20-30 seconds for it to go through, but no one is even possible or capable of actually placing a bid guaranteeing your win. Now what I mean before when I was saying something that I'm sure a lot of us can relate to, which is frustrating, is when you're trying to place a bid last second and you realize it's not letting you, it's saying bid failed, bid failed, bid failed, and then eventually the next time you try it says, oh, you've lost the auction, it's already been awarded to one person. That's because they placed within that last 30-20 seconds and you were trying to place after that threshold had been used and actually had no chance, despite the fact the auction not really showing that to you. That's why I'm saying it's kind of deceiving, but it's definitely one thing that's useful to know. Now another thing that's very useful is looking for cars that are much more rare, and this is when the sniping element comes into play. Now sniping more rare cars opposed to just cars that are very popular within the community is definitely the most lucrative way to make credits in the game right now. Right now it's very limited because obviously with considering the game's only a week old, not many rare cars have even had a chance to be implemented, but this is something to know over time. When the next car comes out through a Horizon Festival playlist, and I'll go ahead and show you guys an example, is in this week's Horizon Festival playlist, one of the cars that was added or made available, which is a rare car not available in autoshow, is actually the Mercedes E63S AMG. Now considering around 3 to 4 of these cars get added every single month, all of these are rare cars you guys will want to hold on to as they will increase in price. Now this has not even been a week and these are already going for 600,000 credits. Now obviously they might only be bidding for a little bit more, like 300,000 to 400,000, but what my point is that considering the auction house actually operates off supply and demand, over time, let's say next week, when it's no longer available through that challenge in this week's Horizon Festival playlist, no one can unlock this car unless they do so through a wheel spin or the auction house, or it comes up later in the Forza shop, etc., or even further down the line through another event. So next week it won't be worth much more, but 4 months down the line, when a lot of new players have since played the game, have never had a chance to unlock this, and these are starting to become rarer and rarer through the auction house, that's when you guys will see how far these prices will climb up. That's why I recommend holding on to these kind of cars when you get them through Horizon Festival playlists, not only just to keep it of your own collection, but they'll also go up in price a lot. So for example, let's say 6 months from now, when the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ will most likely be in the game, the first week it was available through the Horizon Festival playlist, it was probably only going for $500,000, probably more actually, probably more towards 1.2 million, considering it's quite a highly desirable car. But a year from then, chances are, considering it'll almost have never been possible for people to get unless they got lucky through a wheel spin, unless they showed up in Forza shop, which a lot of those cars actually don't. The only way people will be able to get them is through auction house, and that's when the demand will really pick up. That's when they'll go from going from 1 to 2 million first week to even upwards of 20 million in some cases, and that's when you guys can use these maximum buyout actual settings or prereqs to be able to look for ones that are not 20 million, but ones that clueless people or people who are just trying to get quick money are listing up for 1 to 2 million. You can snipe them for 1 to 2 million, resell them for upwards of 10 and make a lot of money. That's one thing to keep in mind, guys, and definitely something to go ahead and use down the line when you're trying to get these kind of rare cars. Now another thing I also recommend is if you guys are going to buy a car from the auto show, let's say you want to buy, what's an example, McLaren Speedtail. I don't actually often buy cars from auto show. I just recommend buying them from the auction house instead. You can usually bid on them last minute using that 20-40 second element I showed before, and get them for at least 20 to 25% off. It adds up over time and you guys can easily save millions of credits within just a few cars you're buying. Now one thing I'll show on screen now is actually an example of me sniping a car called the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Now if I go and show you guys right now on the auction house, I'll search this car up, see if there's any available. Chances are there probably won't be, as it's very hard to unlock, and I got mine for around 400,000 credits. Now I could probably resell it for millions right now, but I'm hold on to it a little bit, and I also like to have it. But it's an example of how I go on. There's none on the auction house, and if you guys want to try snap one of these, considering there's none, you don't need to see that any with filters. Just go in, out, in and out. And as soon as you see the little white flash of the outline of a car coming up, the little silhouette, that's when you want to start spamming Y on controller to instantly go to the buyout screen, and boom, you'll be able to get your hands on a rare car just like that. Now, one thing I also want to briefly elaborate is if you're trying to buy out cars through sniping, one thing I do actually recommend, guys, is don't actually go full into the animation of buying a car. I'll show you guys now. Don't click into the car like this, wait for it, and then buy it out. It's way too slow. Click Y, go down one, and just spam A. So if you're trying to actually snipe a car, you see the white silhouette loading, you'll see it like this, loading like that, outline, spam, like that. Click Y, one downshift or one slot down, and just click A twice, and that's it, guys. That's how you can do it now. Now I'll show the clip of me sniping that car on screen. So I'm going in and out, in and out. I saw the white silhouette. I was actually slow. I should have stayed in. I didn't realize. And then bam, spammed it and got it for around 438,000 credits. And this is a car worth millions. I could resell it if I want. Down the line, it'll probably be worth even more. Considering it's a 4th edition car, not as much though, guys. Considering 4th edition cars don't really keep their value as much as cars that are more rare and will over time not be available as often. But guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you all did enjoy. Hope this did help out people whether you're new to the game, you've been playing for a while, trying to pick up some more tips and tricks. And if you want to stay up to date with specific snipes or specific information over time as more updates come out, more rare cars come out as to how to integrate that into auction house sniping methods, be sure to subscribe, the notifications on, smash the like button, comment down below. But that's going to wrap it up. Hope you all did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching.